Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In the last episode of the Book of Boba Fett, episode 6, we had a very beautiful scene with Luke 5 years after Return of the Jedi, starting his Jedi temple. To be honest, I never thought we would see Luke like this, ever. As a kid, I always wondered and dreamed, what would Luke be like after, basically, his story began? After he was looking out on the Forest Moon of Endor to see Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Yoda as Force ghosts. And then of course you read the comics and the books and you realize how epic and grandiose Luke Skywalker really became and his ideologies of the Jedi Order and how they really changed over time. However, in live action, I have to say it was really nice to see. So, we were left with a very big cliffhanger between Grogu, Luke, and Mando. And it all falls on Grogu's choice between Yoda's lightsaber, on the path of becoming a Jedi, and the Beskar chain link armor, the path of becoming a Mandalorian, and being with Din Djarin. Now, this choice is extremely important. It could set the tone for Star Wars moving forwards, and I believe I know which one Grogu will choose, or rather which one I hope he's going to choose, and how it could open up into a plethora of different pathways that the story can go. When presented with the option of becoming a Jedi and possibly never seeing the Mandalorian again, or leaving Luke and going with Mando, Grogu eyed each item back and forth. And then of course, we got the end of the episode. He can learn the way of his kind, his original upbringing, or the way of the Mandalorian. Now, I say his original because we have to remember, for Grogu, while he may not remember much, he was originally a youngling at the Jedi Temple. He's been there for decades until the events of Order 66, and now 29 or so years later, in the events of the Book of Boba Fett, he's around 50 years old, meaning he spent a good 20 years at minimum with the Jedi and Yoda. If Luke uses the Force to make him remember where he comes from, just like we saw in the last episode with Order 66 flashbacks, which were insane, I think Grogu would have an easier time choosing. However, for now, he's still uncertain of his past and his destiny, which I think is to become the next Mandalorian Jedi like Tar Vizsla. So I think Grogu will choose the Mandalorian. I think he's going to choose the chain link armor. I believe he'll pick up the Beskar armor and either leave Yoda's lightsaber there, or maybe reach for it or use the Force to lift it as well, showing Luke that he is conflicted and he doesn't truly know what he wants just yet. Or I mean, heck, he could just levitate both, which would be pretty cool. Either way, I believe then Luke will know what to do and he'll have to take him to Tatooine immediately in his X-Wing and seek the Mandalorian. We may get Luke walking through Jabba's palace again, which now belongs to Boba. We could get so many different little scenes of Luke maybe going to the Lars homestead or other places in Tatooine. I mean, it's probably been a while since he's been there, and while he's doing all this, before he drops Grogu off with the Mandalorian, the big war is taking place. And so he'll probably arrive at the time where things are really intense between the Pikes, Boba, Cad Bane, Mando, and the others. Mando might be in trouble and close to dying, where Luke saves the day using his abilities as a trained Jedi. Now let me explain further. Grogu will reconnect with Mando again, and he'll realize the value of developing his skills as a Force user, so he can protect himself and the ones that he loves. Grogu will then go off with Luke to complete his training and promise to see Mando again someday. Maybe in a decade or less, but of course, we're going to be seeing him more and more. Maybe Luke's even going to inquire about the darksaber that Mando is wielding during the war, and give him some pointers. Now personally, I don't see us as the viewer leaving Luke after just being introduced back to him. So I think to not only make things more dramatic, but to get the best of both worlds, we'll get Grogu going to Din, then being saved by Luke. However, a super happy ending isn't the best way to leave the finale. I think Luke just coming in there and being overpowered doesn't really develop the story at all. While it's cool to see Luke swinging his green lightsaber, believe me, I'd love to see that again. But I don't want him to turn into some god power mode guy that just comes in and makes everything okay. It's kind of like a cheat code. It's not realistic and it doesn't progress the story or the characters in any way. So I think a new villain even beyond Cad Bane will appear to rival Luke. I think Bossk will show up to fight Chrysanthemum, Cad Bane will fight Boba, Fennec against maybe Kira, and Luke against a new Darksider who I think could be Barriss Offee. Barriss is the perfect antagonist for Ahsoka, and while Ahsoka probably won't be in this season finale, as she's most likely gone on to find Sabine Wren and look for Ezra with Thrawn, I think introducing Barriss into the mix would up the stakes even more. Barriss betrayed Ahsoka and framed her, and she's definitely a worthy adversary to Snips. So in all this time that we haven't seen her since the Clone Wars, maybe she's become really powerful and developed her skills. She could be a very tough match for Luke Skywalker. Either way, Luke coming in there and just being overpowered, like I mentioned, isn't going to make things interesting. While cool and fun and action-packed and it's Luke in all his power and glory, story-wise, there needs to be a conflict and struggle for all the characters, internally, externally, and physically. So, someone has to rival Luke if he goes to Tatooine, which I think is what could happen. I believe it would make for a really, really great story, and it would make things really exciting. The other scenario here is that Mando gets taken as prisoner, maybe frozen in carbonite, maybe captured, maybe really badly injured, and he needs to go into Boba's bacta tank immediately. This would really force Grogu to be with Luke and learn the powers of the Force and the way of the Jedi in order to save Mando. Perhaps The Mandalorian Season 3 has, this is kind of hard to see, Luke in Jabba's palace training Grogu until Mando is healed. Or perhaps they go off somewhere and return in a short time when Mando is feeling better and healed up. Either way, I think the Mandalorian is going to get badly beaten and he'll need some saving, which could leave us on a massive cliffhanger as well until Mando Season 3. And if it doesn't, I think it'll just make Grogu realize that he really needs to develop his powers so that he won't just be a liability, he'll actually be able to help and save Mando as well. I think whatever Grogu chooses, he'll always wonder about the other path. So once he begins to remember Yoda, who, hey, look, he might even be Yoda's son for all we know. He'll then be much more inclined to be with Luke if he remembers this and remembers his family. If Baby Yoda chooses the path of the Jedi, taking Master Yoda's lightsaber and staying with Luke, then he'll surely become extremely powerful. However, the Mandalorian show won't be the same without him, unless it's like this always with Mando visiting Luke and seeing Grogu for a bit here and there. In the end, I would love for Luke and Grogu to stay together and for Grogu to be trained by Luke. However, I think for it to really, really sell for him and for Grogu to really understand that he needs to develop his skills, he must first see Luke in action, how he protects the ones that he cares for, and how he too can benefit from such training and protect the innocent as well as the ones that he loves. It's sort of his responsibility. I think the key to all of this is for Luke to just help Grogu remember more of his past, which of course would be really nice to see some flashbacks as well, from Revenge of the Sith, Attack of the Clones, Phantom Menace, and even far before that, because Grogu's been around for quite a while. I have a theory, I think he could very well be the son of Yaddle and Yoda. Whatever Grogu chooses, I'm going along for the ride with you guys, and I can't wait for the season finale watch party. I will see you all there. Thanks for watching today's theory video. Let me know what you think Grogu chooses. This is kind of a big deal. It's really going to shape the future of these Star Wars shows. We could be seeing Luke in Ahsoka, we could be seeing Luke in another Book of Boba Fett season, in The Mandalorian Season 3, and so on and so forth. Especially in Ahsoka, I would love to see that, with Force Ghost Anakin speaking to both of them. I think that would be a really beautiful scene and very, very touching. Catch you all in the next episode on Star Wars Theory. Until then, remember, my fellow Jedi and Sith friends, the Force will be with you, always.